Hello. As a couples therapist, you're often working with couples that are going through very, very difficult situations. And sometimes that leads to them choosing to divorce. Now, when you work with couples that are going through this really painful and difficult transition in their lives, one of the questions you get asked most often is, how is this going to impact our kids? Now, the answer to this question is your typical couples therapy dodge. It depends. And I can appreciate that that's not a very satisfying answer for folks that are going through something that is very, very difficult. So, what I wanted to do here was make a series where I talk about how divorce impacts kids across the lifespan, right? Because it's a very dynamic impact that it has. It's not the same for every kid and every situation. So, we're going to focus right away on probably the most overlooked segment, which is kids age 0 to 3. So oftentimes, this is when parents are getting divorced. If you are an adult child of divorce, it's probably fairly likely that your parents got divorced in this range. And that's because most divorces happen in the first 10 years of marriage. And what's happening in the first 10 years of marriage? Usually a couple having their first kid. It's a very stressful and difficult transition point for a family. And many families don't make the transition successfully and decide that it's better to divorce. So when couples are making this decision, what the calculus they're usually thinking of is, this is going to have less impact on our kids if we do this now. And in some ways that's accurate, but in other ways it's not. So I want to talk more about this today. Children age 0 to 3, how divorce impacts them. Now, compared to other stages, the divorce itself, the moment of ending the relationship, the relaying that information to the kids, has much less impact, right? For many kids that are age 0 to 3, they're just kind of figuring out, what it's like to be alive and who is going to be able to take care of them. Now, that is where this has a huge impact, the attachment relationship. Because kids age 0 to 3 are trying to figure out who is safe, who in my life can I rely on, where do I live, where do I sleep, where do I get my meals. And that safety is so, so essential in being able to develop healthily, and especially the attachment safety. So being able to attach consistently to caregivers and know that these giants in their life are going to be there for them is huge. So a divorce is a big challenge with that because you're going to be living in different homes. Now, the thing that makes this successful for couples that divorce with children age 0 to 3 is a very consistent schedule and very reliable and consistent time with their caregivers. So that means, if we're doing like the 2-2-3-3 model, which is very common for kids at that age, not deviating from the schedule, not creating inconsistency that they don't know, how to handle or rely on. It's also really important to limit their access to conflict. So it's normal if you're divorcing your partner to have conflict, and especially around the divorce settlement. All of these things are happening with young children around. In doing that, you just want to make sure that you're limiting how much they are aware of and, overhearing, encountering that sort of discomfort. So, if you're dropping off your kid with your ex-partner, making sure that that's a seamless and pleasant experience, or, having that happen at daycare or something like that to make it less intense for them. What we're focusing on here is attachment security, making sure they know that they're loved, that their caregivers are, it's not going to change, even though their routine is being disrupted. They can handle a lot more routine disruption as long as they know they're going to continue to be loved. Long term, the kind of benefits of a child experiencing divorce at this stage is that as you move on, as your partner moves on, develops new relationships or develops new, has a new partner, you're potentially able to create two really stable home environments for them, right? And that's the hope, increasing the stability in their lives by having two really safe and positive places for them to be. So you want to emphasize more of the positive elements of this. You're going over to dad's house or mom's house, and that's an exciting place for them. You want that to be a place that they feel safe, they feel loved, and that they look forward to going to, just like they do going over to your place. So being able to create two really solid nests and homes and letting them know that they're going to be loved and there's going to be consistent stability at both of those places is huge, in this window. So those are the things you really want to focus on, attachment consistency, routine stability, and making sure you're taking care of yourself so that you're continuing to be able to be the best parent that you can be to them. Because now suddenly you are a single parent in your time when you have them. So working with your co-parent to make sure that that stability exists is huge. As we go forward, we're going to keep talking about some of the other ages and stages, some of which hold more risk than others. This is a stage that, even though it's often talked about that, they're not going to remember it. They're not going to, really understand what's going on. Kids this age do understand what's going on. And if there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of instability, it's going to have a major impact on their development. So that's why this stage, you really want to focus on that stability, and especially the attachment stability. We'll be talking more about other stages here in the days to come. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in more content like this, please like and subscribe and do all those things. I look forward to talking to you more about other topics.